Hello, everybody. It's Trina and Dominique here again to answer your questions about the Elohim Guided by Light Sound Healing Practitioner Training. And the question that we have today is that we have mentioned before that the Elohim Sound Healing practice is actually guided by spirit rather than guided by universal energy. And that there's actually a difference between spirit and universal energy. And I'm going to throw that over to Dominique because the question was, well, what is that difference? And so Dominique's going to flesh that out for a little bit for us now.
So I'd like to start by talking about universal energy. And universal energy, of course, is penetrated by spiritual energy. They're not indivisible. But universal energy is it's almost like this realm, this zone where all the things that have ever been created exist. And so those things might be something that's been created by a belief. And so it's this energetic presence that almost has this visceral kind of identity to it that might have simply been created over time by a belief system, a religious belief system, a cultural belief system, an emotional belief system, or it's all the things, it's all the archetypes, all the gods and goddesses that have ever been created. It's all the flow of vibrational energy from plants and animals and the elements, the clouds, and it's things like even people have created machines. So what has been created lives in this realm, and it's vast, and there's these super highways of information. And you might, if you're going out into universal energy and just saying, I open myself up to the energy of the universe, then until you become incredibly discerning about what you're letting through, you might bump into something that feels really wonderful but might not be quite right for your soul and your unique purpose. You might bump into something that feels a little bit kind of like, ooh, I don't really like that, but you don't know how to articulate, stay away, I don't want to engage with that. You might it's to do with this consciousness. So if you're really conscious of what you're working with in universal energy, and some people call it the astral realm, there's sort of different ways to name it, then it makes it sort of much easier. And as a spiritual being, as a being, one of the things that we are learning is to become conscious of what energy is.
Absolutely.
But this zone is different from, I guess, connecting to spirit energy. And one of the things that Elohim does is Elohim is really channeled in this very specific container to flow through on a particular vibration of spirit energy, and that's the Elohim blueprint energy, original nature blueprint,
what we call
energy.
It, yes.
And so that's what it's been gifted to us to call it, and so it's like safe. And so, Trina, can you elaborate on the difference a little bit between spirit energy and universal energy?
Yeah. What you said there is really helpful, Dominique. That's fantastic. Talking about what universal energy is. And just one little thing that I'd like to add to that is that as a practitioner of spiritual healing and as somebody that mentors other people to practice working with energy, one thing that I've noticed in my practice, and I've been working for almost 25 years now, is people coming in who have been working with energy and have been overly connecting with universal energy without necessarily having the awareness of that, and it's blown them out. It's blown their circuits, and it's really depleted them and exhausted them and affected their ability to be able to practice in a way that is sustainable for them. And so being able to make sure that you are connecting with, not being overly influenced by universal energy or kind of expanding out past your boundaries into that universal energy. Because when you do that, you become really overwhelmed and scattered, and you don't really know left from right or up and down. It can be quite overwhelming. Spirit energy, right? Spirit energy is, I'm going to use an analogy kind of thing to explain it, because I'm a very firm believer that anybody, there's this Taoist saying that Dominique knows. She's heard me say this so many times. So I always mark it up. But it basically says something like, the person who can say what spirit is does not know what spirit is, right? I mean, spirit has a level of mystery to it that it is not necessarily able for, that we are not necessarily able to 100% completely understand while we are human beings. I talk to people who have passed over quite a lot. It's a wonderful perk of my job. I love speaking to people who have passed over. And I always have this little question in my mind when I'm speaking to them of, what's it like? And they always say, I always get this response back of like, it's just whoa, like it's no way you would be able to understand it. But nonetheless, this hand up the top here is spirit. Spirit and matter join together. And out of that union, that original union, you as a life form are created, and you are made of energy and you are made of matter. And as Dominique was saying, and that energy and matter is the universe, that is the universal realm. It is the astral realm. It is the realm of the created, right? And so there is spirit in there, right? Because we're talking about spirit and matter coming together. So there's spirit in there, but is spirit the impetus for that creation once it has been created, right? So once something has been created, is spirit the main motivator that keeps flowing, is the life force that is informing that creation? Well, most of the time it's not, because we start to develop and we have our own thoughts and we have our own emotions and we start to develop beliefs, and they start to become the main place from which we start to become created, that we are creating ourselves from. So spirit gets kind of lost with inside of that. But the thing is that spirit, that when you as I was saying, spirit and matter come together, you emerge. Hello, here I am. I'm a little life force here. When you pass over and go back to spirit, then this creation of me, this body, this energy, this matter, it goes, right? And my soul and my spirit return to that other realm that is spirit, that is not bound by universal creation.
And can I say that the parts of ourselves that have been created, they merge with universal energy as well. So we have a universal energy field. We have an etheric energetic field. Yes. And that just merges back into the great sort of flow of etheric energies and universal energies. So we become part of that as well as part of spirit.
So if you can imagine that this is between my two hands here is an orb, and this orb is the universe that's sitting between my two hands, and spirit is actually present through that. But spirit is something also other than that. So here's the orb, and then here up here is spirit, right? And it is beyond all of that is created there in the universe. Okay. And so it kind of has this overreaching kind of bigger picture perspective of everything that's happening in that created world. And when you actually plug into spirit and have the vibration that you create for healing coming from that spirit, and then penetrating into that material world, into that universal created world, then you are making sure that the vibration that you are creating as an energy healer has the right intent, the right purpose infused within it for the therapeutic effect that is needed for the client.
Beautiful. So thanks, Trina.
Thank you.
So we hope that answers your question. And again, if you have more questions, we're happy to answer. So just put a comment below and we'll see what we can do to help you understand more about the Elohim Guided by Light Sound Healing Practitioner training. It's a 12-week training. It's a beautiful modality. You can step straight into being a practitioner. So it's easy and safe and highly, it has this intelligence that runs through it that
Mm.
blows me away, actually.